Hey guys, welcome to YOL Academy's Java videos. In today's video, we are going to learn about basics of Java coding. Let's get started. Alright, as of last video, we have installed Java and Eclipse on our computer. If you haven't watched the last video, we will leave the link in the description. You can click on it, watch that video first. Make sure you have Java and Eclipse installed on your computer so that you can follow along during this video. One of the things that we installed during last video was Eclipse. So what is an Eclipse? Eclipse is an IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is basically a software that helps you to write a program. You can write using multiple languages in the same IDE, depending on which programming languages that IDE specifically supports. Now, we are going to use Java. There are multiple IDEs out there in the market that is popular with Java. There are three of them that is most popular: Eclipse, IntelliJ, and NetBeans. In today's video and following videos after this, we will be using Eclipse. We can use Eclipse to write the code, run our code, debug the code, and check the logs. So there are multiple things that IDEs gives us flexibility to troubleshoot our code, write easier codes. You don't necessarily need an IDE to be able to write a program in Java. We can write code in Notepad, but it is not helpful because IDEs provide a lot of powerful tools for us to be able to write better code, to be able to easily find what we're looking for. You're going to notice that in just a few minutes as well. All right, let's start writing our first program. During the last installation video, we created a project called Project 1. If you have already followed along and if you created it, that's fine. No need to follow along at this point. I'm just going to basically repeat that actions to create a new project in case you are somebody that hasn't seen the previous video and you would like to follow. In order to create a Java project, I can click on the Create a Java Project option here. Then I'm going to give my project a name. I will call this Project 1. Next. And finish. Now that I have my first project, I can create a new class. I'll go to File, New Class. And here, I'm going to enter my class name, will be my first program. We're going to keep our class name starting with capital. And we're going to make sure we check the public static void main. This is for main method. And let's hit finish. There it is. Now we are at a point that we can start typing some Java code. As with the last video, I'm going to type in system out print ln, and we're going to put in here hello YOL student. We'll save it and we can run this code now. Hello YOL student. So we get the result on the console. So let's look at what this program is about. We know that it printed a text as we put it in there, but what we see a lot of stuff happening here: project, package name, class name, all these keywords, public static void main. Now, just kind of general idea what these are. I'm going to try to explain that to you in a simpler terms. Programs are very similar to recipes. It contains ingredients and instructions that you need to follow. Let's look at the code we have and let's compare it to a typical instruction for a food. So we're going with cheeseburger. When you're trying to make a cheeseburger, there are certain ingredients that you need. And then you also need to follow certain instructions to be able to successfully make your burger. So the name of this food is cheeseburger. Ingredients are cheese, beef patty, buns, tomatoes, lettuce, ketchup. And the instructions are: we have to grill the beef patty, melt cheese on top of the patty, slice the bun, put patty in between slices, put tomato slice, lettuce in between slices, and adding ketchup. These are main instructions. That means if I want to make a basic burger, I would need to follow these instructions to be able to make it. And then there could be other extra instructions or different variations of burger that I would need to follow different recipes. Those could have, mushrooms, jalapenos, pickles, or any other things that depending on what kind of burger you're trying to make. But for a basic burger, we would need to follow this recipe. Similarly, we're looking at our Java code, right? We have a class. The name of the class is my first class. And we have the main instructions inside the main method right here. So I know there's a lot of keywords here. For now, we're going to just treat it as an elephant in the room. We're going to focus on the body of this main method. Say system out println hello you all students. So this is the main instructions. Let's look at another side-by-side comparison. If I were to write cheeseburger in terms of Java program, this is kind of what it looked like, right? Cheeseburger as a class. And inside it, we would have the main method. Inside main method, all my instructions would go. Similarly, you look at it on the left side, public class, my first class. So this is the name of the class. This is the main method, and inside it, all the main instructions flowing in there. The few pointers here to make sure to understand is we have main method inside the class. So any method will be inside the classes for now. If you look at our code is also inside the main method. So there is a scope or a structure you have to follow. These two curly braces defines your class. These two curly braces define your main method. So if you're saying that this code is inside the main method, that means it's in between these two curly braces that you see. If we remove the class and try to run, we're going to get errors. Or if we try to remove the main method and try to run our code, we're going to get errors. Let's take a look at that quickly. For example, if I decided, hey, I don't need this class and remove it, right, we're going to get errors. Or if I try to get rid of main method, again, I'm going to have an error right here as well. So we need to make sure our class is there, our main method is inside the class. If I decide to take the main method outside of here, again, there will be errors. So a lot of the problems that newcomers to Java are facing is because they easily get confused with the scopes, with what is inside what, right? That's the main thing. A lot of problems we see happening here. So for that, I always recommend if you're kind of lost with the scope of where it is the class starts, where it ends, or where the main method starts and ends, simply click on this right here on one of the curly braces. The other one gets highlighted in Eclipse. If you click on here, the other one gets highlighted. So this means this is your main method scope right here in between, and this is your class scope starting from line number 3 all the way to 12, right? Now let's look at some of the Java basics. These are the fundamental rules that we need to follow in Java. First of all, Java is case sensitive. That means capital A is not same as lowercase a. For example, I cannot decide to put this O here as a capital. That will throw an error. And anytime you see this red error, that means it's a compilation error. And Java or Eclipse warns you about that because I can still run this program, but Java will tell me there is a problem. Are you sure you want to run? Right? This is for saving. Right here, error exists in the required project. Do you want to still proceed? If I say yes, I'm going to get an error compilation problem. So anytime you get this error, no need to run. Just try to troubleshoot what the problem is, right, before you run it. Having said that, inside this double quotation marks, this is in Java, this is called string. So anything you see inside double quotation, that means it's a string. It is a data type. And here I can change things around. I can put lowercase here, lowercase here, and lowercase here, and run this code. That would run. It wouldn't give me any problems because this is kind of safe zone where you can write whatever you want to write and it will still be able to print it. But outside here, these are the keywords. You cannot change their cases. Next one is every statement ends with a semicolon. So right here, if you notice, I have one statement, print statement, and it ends with semicolon. If I had another statement, print statement, same way, system out, print ln, and if you notice, if I don't put the semicolon, Java is complaining. And if I go here, hover over and see what the problem is, it says insert semicolon to complete this statement. Once I do that, we are all set. Now I have two print statements printed. Java reads the code from left to right, top to bottom. This is one of the simple yet overlooked aspect of programming when people are starting with no background, is that you have to remember, just like how you're reading the books from left to right, top to bottom, Java will execute this program in a similar manner. That means this statement will be printed after this statement. Methods are enclosed in curly brackets. We have already talked about that. Class name starts with uppercase letters. So that's a convention. So make sure when you're creating a new classes, start with uppercase. Method names start with lowercase. So if I look at our class and method name right here, my class name starts with uppercase, and main method in this case starts with lowercase. Now, you would get away if your method starts with uppercase, but it's not a good practice. Comments. So what are comments? During coding, you may write a lot of code that could easily get confusing for somebody else that looks at your code, or even for yourself after a long time. So to make things a little bit clear and kind of have notes in your code, we will use this option called comments. Comment is any text that you put there for useful information that helps you better understand this code. We could put here another print statement, right? And then I could put here system out. By the way, instead of typing the whole system out println, we can just type in SYSO. This is the shortcut, and then control space will get you to system out println. And we'll type in here so now if I run this code, you will see this print statement, and last print statement all printed out. However, you won't see this line of code getting printed because these are comments. If any code that comes after double quotes, you will be able to basically bypass it. So if I want to bypass this line of code for now, I can simply put 2 forward slash in front of it, and that would make it a comment as well. Run this code. Now you can see only this statement and this statement get printed. You can also comment multiple lines at once. For example, right here, if I want to comment everything here, I could just highlight and press Control forward slash. That would comment everything, as you can see. Another option is highlight everything and again press Control forward slash. That will remove the comment, basically uncomment it. And then Control Shift forward slash, you will comment it as well, the whole section here. So you have multiple options to do this. And lastly, the last rule that we have here on this slide, name of the class and Java file has to match. What do we mean by that? Basically, as you can notice, my Java file is on the left side here. Name is myfirstprogram.java. And my class name is myfirstprogram right here. If I decided to change this class name without changing the Java program, we will have an error. So I attempted to change the program, the class name, and Java now is complaining and telling me that you have to define its own Java file. Basically, it is no longer associated to this file, so you have to create again. However, if let's say the right way of changing the class name, if let's say you made a mistake and you want to change the class name, you can right click, go to refactor, and then hit rename. And over here you can type in the new class name and hit finish. Now both my Java file name and class name are matching and we are good to go. Alright, that was it for today's video. We'll see you in the next video.